This is not a political or religious channel, so I'm gonna leave that one alone. What's up, guys? It's Devin Harrington, the average Gen Xer, and welcome back to my channel, where today we're taking a look at some posts from some Redditors who are asking the question, is marriage a scam? And more specifically, is marriage a scam for women? There has been quite a lot written about this topic as we move well into the 21st century. People are wondering, do we still need marriage? Should marriage simply be a legal contract? Marriage is a legal contract, and divorce can be had in most countries for any reason you want. And if it's that easy to break up a marriage, then what is the point? Because few people have had a painless divorce. Divorce is expensive, messy, awful. And yes, I understand many people need the legalities of their divorce agreement, etc., especially when there are kids involved. But are women falling for a scam? Let's take a look at what these Redditors have to say. But first, this is the part of the video where I beg and plead with all animal lovers out there, please consider volunteering on site or fostering, if you can, for your local animal shelter or rescue of any kind. This is the illustrious Miss Goldie. I have had her since she was about 5 months old. She came as a medical foster to recover at my house from a fractured pelvis that she probably got by being hit by a car. Anyway, I have had Goldie now for going on 4 months. She is nearly full grown. She is a beautiful, beautiful, sweet little girl. And I have had 11 adoption applications on her. And as you can see, she has not been adopted yet. I have had quite a few of my viewers tell me that she's meant to be adopted by me. And believe me, you think about it, every single foster. However, there's only so much money to go around. So unless I get some big time sponsorships real soon, I cannot afford 3 dogs. But I wanted to say 11 applications on one animal and they're still not adopted is maybe not as uncommon as you might think. Every animal is on their own journey. They all have their own story, and they all are on their path to find their perfect adopter. And sometimes, things don't work out. Animals are individuals, and they don't always click with everyone. Anyway, I am still waiting for the perfect person to come along. Most of the adopters who put inquiries on Goldie withdrew because they found another dog that, the husband was really attached to, or they decided to foster instead, or they decided they're too old to adopt a young dog. It's none of Goldie's fault. So anyway, sometimes you got to be patient in the rescue game. If you love animals, please, please do your little part to help save the world. Do it for the animals. Thanks. Okay, first post is from the feminism subreddit. Ooh, scary feminism. Can we just take a moment to, since this is my channel, I will just give my definition of feminism because I think there has been some confusion in the world. People just get all up in arms over the concept of feminism and how it's destroyed Western culture and blah, blah, blah. Personally, I think at this point in human history, we should be past feminism. It should be just obvious common sense that women and men are equal, different biologically, but equal. And that's simply all feminism is to me, that women deserve the exact same rights that men have. So that's my definition, and I would love to hear from the women out there what you think of the concept of feminism. Is it passé? Do we need to reignite it and reinvent it and rebrand it somehow? Let me know what you think. So this post is from Affectionate Risk, And they ask, is marriage basically a scam for women? I recently got into a debate on another subreddit and started researching. The stats and studies have absolutely amazed me. I'm now reconsidering any ambition I had of getting married. Oh, dear. Chores, married versus cohabitation breakdown. In Western countries, married men do 27% of the chores, and she is sure to note that that is a high estimate, compared to 40% by men in a de facto relationship. Okay, so that's married versus living together. Married men do even less chores than men who live with their partners. So, I mean, that's kind of makes sense. Indoors chores, cohabitation, 70% by women, and in marriage, 81% by women. I believe that. It's crazy that even today, women are just considered the maid, the cook, the maid, or the bang maid, as I've seen it called. Chores, married versus single. On average, a married woman performs 3 hours a day of chores compared to 2.4 hours a day for a single mother. What's the difference cited in the stories? She's cleaning up after a man in addition to the kids. Wow. I don't know where these stats come from, so I cannot vouch for them. But they go on. Happiness. Never married versus married. Never married women reported to have longer term stable happiness compared to married women. Well, that makes perfect sense. Not because men are terrible. I try to remind people of this when I talk about stuff like this, that I'm not a man hater. I am single by choice. I am child free by choice, but that doesn't mean I hate men or even children. And clearly, if you're never married and you never have to deal with the heartbreak of a divorce or even the compromises that marriage requires, yeah, you would be happier. I can certainly vouch for that. I am certainly happier when I am single than when I'm in a relationship. It's a different kind of happiness, but it's a more like this person says, longer term stable happiness. Yes. Health, never married versus married. Never married women are typically healthier, less depressed, less anxious compared to married women. It seems that marriage is great if you're a man. And no, I'm not stating all marriages are like that. Right. I mean, it is a broad generalization, but broad generalizations exist because they're true. Seems that marriage is great if you're a man. You hear that a lot, that marriage was designed for men. And certainly it was. When your wife was your property, you paid a dowry to buy your wife, who's now going to produce your lineage and give you children. But we don't live in that world anymore. We have, for the most part, evolved beyond that. They go on. But reading through the studies, I can't help but get more and more of a feeling that marriage is an outdated, ultimately misogynistic institution that is slowly dying off. In the West now, 50% of babies are born to unwed parents. Of the parents who are married at birth, 50% of parents will divorce before the child turns 18. De facto separations are only slightly higher at around 60%. Yeah, because it's so much easier to leave a relationship that when you don't have the legal aspect. If you never get married, you never have to get divorced. You can walk out the door anytime. No lawyers needed. Is this the beginning of the end of marriage? Full disclosure, I have 2 toddlers and I am in a de facto relationship. And by that, I think she means she lives with her partner. Here to Red said, there's a reason society works really, really, really hard to tell the tale that marriage is something women want or should want. there's a reason society tries to tie a woman's worth to marital status, and society tries so hard. Yeah, I mean, personally, I think it's because there's money to be made. How many billions are spent on weddings? I mean, there's a whole industry around wedding planning and wedding dresses and wedding decor and all of that crap. Potato Cupcake said, same reason why they want women to marry young, before they're fully mature and understand how the world works. Yes, it's always seemed to be the understanding that you marry a woman and then you give her children, and that's going to keep her busy, so she stays home and doesn't do anything with her own life, basically. She's just there to nurture and raise your children and keep your house clean. And I mean, that's still today kind of the same thing, except in a lot of cases, the woman is also going out and working full time on top of all that. Fuck that noise. Alchemy Alice said, yes, now factor in the Project 2025 threat of taking away no-fault divorce. Yeah, you want to know why your grandparents stayed married for 70 years? Most of the time, in many cases, it was because there was no such thing as irreconcilable differences, or we just don't get along anymore, so we're dissolving this marriage. If your husband beats you, not a reason to get divorced. If your husband cheats on you, sorry, not a reason to get divorced. And that's why grandma stayed married. Also because she couldn't have her own bank account back in the day. She couldn't have her own credit cards. Your husband had to sign off on you getting on the pill. As you know, well into the pill came out in 1960. Imagine that. You couldn't just go into the doctor and say, I want to be on the pill by yourself at 18, like I did. And I didn't even have to ask. I turned 18 and my family doctor said, you want to be on the pill? And so the fact that our grandmothers, our great-grandmothers, all of the women that came before us, they didn't have any of that. No wonder they fucking stayed married. What were they going to do? Twist outrageous. Project 2025. It's bizarre how religious people want to meddle so much in other people's lives. This is not a political or religious channel, so I'm going to leave that one alone. Investigator OK reminded everyone, and as virgins, so we have nothing to compare our experience with. And that was that commenter's experience. Imagine that. Most religions want you to get married as a virgin. Not so much the guy, but the woman has to be a virgin. The woman is just an object to be placed on a pedestal as she goes through her suffering of bearing children for her loving husband. What the fuck am I even talking about? All right, let's move on. Someone who deleted their account posted this on the sub 2X chromosomes. Do you feel that marriage is a con for some women? Yes, I mean, that's fair. Some. We do make a lot of broad generalizations on this channel, but I think people are intelligent enough to discern that I don't mean everyone. Okay, and this person says, I feel that for me, getting married was the worst decision ever. Before marriage, my partner wasn't perfect, but he did more than half of the household chores. He said he was a feminist. Did you ask his definition of that? He claimed he wanted a partnership and considered me to be his best friend. This sounds fucking great, right? This is what we're looking for. He echoed all of my thoughts on so many subjects. He did nice things for me, like driving me to my parents every weekend. He did all of the cooking. He paid half of the bills, and he made me laugh so much. He seems to have good parenting ideas and told me he'd be happy as a stay-at-home dad, so I could focus on my career. Wow. Okay. Sounds great so far. I mean, you take people at their word, right? You give them the benefit of the doubt that they mean what they say and say what they mean. She goes on, when we got married, we had been together for 9 years. So she's already been with him 9 years, and then they got married. And we lived together for the vast majority of that time. So that's good that she lived with him. A lot of couples don't live together. You have to live with the person. I mean, if you're really super neat and clean and they're a slob, you have to consider, do you want to spend your life cleaning up after this person? That's just one little comparison. Anyway, moving on. When we got married, we'd been together for 9 years and lived together for the vast majority of that time. I entered into marriage aware of his flaws, but I was totally blindsided by the abrupt change after marriage and kids as I got pregnant soon after getting married. We hear this on post after post after post from women who say, as soon as they had a baby, their partner changed, or they were together for a short time and they were great and they got love bombed and then they got married. And there's something about when you have that legal lockdown on someone, especially when there's children involved, there is no escape. She goes on, now I'm doing 100% of the cooking and housework while also working a lot more hours than him and paying all of the bills. Ma'am, why? Why? I deal with 100% of the mental and practical load of the house and the children. He no longer drives? What? He no longer drives, so I do all of the driving. He's rude and nasty and abusive, and he's an alcoholic. Wow. He doesn't even speak to me or look at me, and he does everything he can to hurt me and make me suffer. He's a horrible, mean parent with no patience for the children. How the fuck did this guy put on this good guy act for 9 years? That was what I was saying before. We hear about people doing this a lot, just putting on this mask of being what you've been searching for your whole life for a period of time. But they always say, they can only keep the mask on for so long. And 9 years is a freaking long time. Like, I'm surprised he didn't marry her before then. This is an odd one. I honestly cannot remember the last time he made me laugh. It's like a switch flipped. I often see comments that women should vet men before marriage, and if they end up trapped with a bad guy, that's somehow their fault. But I feel like I was well and truly tricked into marrying someone who had pretended to be someone else for 9 years, only letting the mask slip once I was trapped. Oh, God. That sentence just gives me nausea. Has anyone else had this experience? Lilu Lei, yes, take this advice. Get a divorce. You make most of the money. You do everything. He sounds like he's dependent on you for everything. You're married to an abusive prick who contributes nothing but a little money and a whole lot of problems and heartache for you. Don't stay together for the kids. Yeah, staying together for the kids, obviously case by case basis, but I never understood the let's stay together for the kids, because would you want your kids to grow up and stay in a shitty, abusive relationship? No, you wouldn't. You would tell them to get out. So what are you doing? I think people use that as an excuse. And I say that because my mom and my stepfather got married when I was 9, and my mother never should have married him, never should have had a kid with him. And they're still married, and it's now almost 50 years later. But he was pretty good at making money. And so my mom stayed because she liked her lifestyle and her fur coat and her Mercedes and that kind of thing. Even though this guy was not a father, to me at least, and he was a shitty, abusive husband and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, why stay for the kids? My mother said, I wanted my kids to have a father. You wanted your kids to have this guy as a father? Really? I think you just didn't want to have to go get a job and support yourself and your children, because that's too hard. This person goes on, don't stay together for the kids. He's a horrible dad. He's a horrible husband. He's a pathetic man. Leave. You hold all the cards. Play the hand. Yeah, seriously. I can't believe this woman is actually in this situation and is not sure what to do. Cbus said, my wife went through a similar experience with her ex. Her biggest regret is she tried to make it work, hoping he'd sober up, and just wasted several more years being miserable. Yeah. My dad always told me, if you're in any kind of situation, whether it's a job or a relationship or anything, uh, a club that you're in, whatever it is, if you are not happy, you walk out the door. There is nothing in the world and no one in the world worth your happiness. And I think that's good advice. Misanthrope1 said, talk to an attorney first, OP. You may be on the hook for alimony if you're the sole breadwinner. And Disjointed Chameleon said, not if she plays her cards right and finds a good accountant and lawyer. There are ways to protect your assets without setting off proverbial red flags. I work in auditing in the financial services industry, so let's just say I know a thing or two about evidence and documentation. I left my abusive, soon-to-be ex-husband 4 months ago. He was also an alcoholic deadbeat who refused to maintain gainful employment. It's crazy how so many men do that. And I love the term hobosexual for the guy that always lives off his girlfriends, and just awful. Men just retain the childlike notion that mommy will take care of everything. And then they get married and the missus becomes the mommy. I mean, it's ridiculous how often we hear that in these posts, that there's a woman who thought this guy was so great and they were going to be partners and have children, and now plays video games and smokes weed all day and doesn't even watch his children, and she is working and doing all the housework and blah, 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 and she feels like he's one of her children. So not worth it. I mean, we have to normalize the fact that in many, many, many cases, the little nuclear family you think you're building is not worth it. You would be much better off taking your kids and going out the door. And I realize that's easier said than done. Disjointed Chameleon went on and said, even while I was undergoing chemotherapy, monthly immunotherapy infusions, and countless surgeries for my medical condition, I spent a decade doing all of the things and finally got fed up and left 4 months ago. Thankfully, we didn't have children. I can't believe she lasted this long without kids in the picture. I earn 6 figures. I out-earn him by 50 grand plus a year. I walked away with a clean deal. Won't have to pay him a dime in alimony, nor a penny out of my 401k. Good on you, ma'am. I am psyched for you. OP, I also recommend checking your employee benefits plan. These days, many companies offer access to cheap legal help through a network they partner with. You might be able to find more affordable legal help that way. That's good to know. I did not know that either. Okay, and finally, going back to the feminism sub, this is by Rosie Purple 13. Marriage just seems awful. You're not wrong. I feel like this is the only place to voice this. I see it happen to everybody. People who you never thought it could happen to. After 6 months or 20 years, and even if you've predicted it. My parents were married for 8 years and divorced when I was 6. My grandma married twice and was cheating on the father of her children 2 years before he passed, and now she's divorced again. And my aunt-in-law just called it quits after 24 years and 2 kids. I may just be surrounded by people that just don't love each other, but I generally don't see marriage as a happy thing. No, I think it's more trouble than it's worth. I mean, except for the tax benefits, I don't see, or any other legal benefits, I do not see the point. I may just be surrounded by people that don't love each other, but I generally don't see marriage as a happy thing. Why do lots of women want it? Why are we taught to want it? Well, Rosie Purple, women are taught to want to be the queen for a day in the big white dress, in my opinion. And we are primed to do as we're told and take care of babies. You know, I had remember Baby Alive? Does anyone remember Baby Alive? It's like a battery operated baby, and you could feed her and she'd poop and you'd change diapers and the whole nine. I was obsessed with Baby Alive when I was a little kid. But still, I was able to discern as I grew up that having kids was not for me. But a lot of women just accept that this is what you're supposed to do. Why are we taught to want it? I'm sure there's all kinds of patriarchal reasons why. If you're happily married, this clearly doesn't apply to you. Exactly. But why is the end goal always that? Can people not have long, fulfilling relationships without it? I tried to post this somewhere else without going into much detail, and people treated me like I was insane. Yes, because we are all taught to want that traditional grow up, get an education, get married, have children. She goes on, some felt personally targeted because I said that a rule I stand by is that if you love me, don't propose. I got told that my take was dumb, and someone tried to tell me that my opinion wasn't valid because I'm only 19. God forbid a woman is self-aware of the fact that possibly marriage isn't in her cards because of family history. I was even told that I need therapy because I don't believe that marriage is worth it. Please let that sink in. Yeah, you're just a hysterical little woman. Oh my God. I don't think I have to tell my life story for it, but I will, because apparently we always have to prove that we're not just dumb girls. Exactly. As you guys can tell, I haven't had the most positive view of marriage because the people that were together didn't love each other, didn't work out, or married too quickly. I don't think I want to get married because my mom found herself in an abusive relationship and we were both victims of domestic violence. Boy, that's the tale as old as time. Same girl, same. I don't think I even need to include this, but even when I tried without actually saying the words, someone basically told me that being 19 does play a factor in why I view marriage so negatively, and that I'm not special because I'm not the only one that's seen relationships fail. Well, that's a fair point, but, let the girl get older and grow a full brain and then let her make a decision. I bet you she still decides marriage is not for her. She goes on, I'm sorry you're so offended by the fact that I don't want to get married. Maybe it's because I'm bi and poly or because of everything else I mentioned, but why do people scoff at the idea that a woman just doesn't want that? I'm in therapy and I'm not sure what that's supposed to do. I wouldn't trust myself to be legally bound to someone because what if I ever need to leave too? Exactly. So much harder to leave when there's legal issues involved. And in the US, you're stuck in that state until those kids are 18. And how trapped can you feel? Ugh. I don't think I need to prove my love and loyalty to anyone through marriage. And if I did, there's bigger issues. I realized I didn't want that when I was one of the very few girls who never dreamed of that day and what everything would look like. And that's it. Yeah, it's like one day in your life that is made out to be this epic thing. And I know a girl, the planning for her wedding went on for 2 years and she was divorced in less than a year. All that money, all that time, all that energy for nothing. They should have spent all that money on the honeymoon or whatever, Is it seriously that ridiculous to want a long-term relationship without a legal process? Is it seriously insane to still want a family without it? No, it's not insane. You don't have to get married. I don't see how marriage proves to be true love and loyalty. Okay, I thought I would add this just because it's so ridiculous. It's hilarious. I think what ruffled some feathers for some people is that I've always stood by a saying I've heard all my life when shit hits the fan with these people, and it's in Spanish, so let me translate. And in English, her favorite saying is, better alone than in bad company. The comments on this post, Psychology Dry said, I agree. I find most of the heterosexual relationships around me to be very unequal, with the women doing an outsized amount of the work. I feel badly for women who commit to men who don't do their share. Yeah, stupid. Someone who deleted their account said, heteronormative relationships are bad for women in general. There's data that shows this, especially when children are involved. And that's probably why we're all but brainwashed to want that because the patriarchy needs us to keep producing slaves. And this is not a conspiracy channel, but that's kind of the way of the world, at least in the US. Cytomome said, we don't even need marriage for these unequal relationships. It seems like relationships with men, period, are ill-advised for women. Pretty Edge 411 said, I'm over 40, and I've often said that marriage looks like a hostage situation. I agree with you, Pretty Edge. I've always said that marriage looks like prison with better furniture. So we are aligned. Yes, the world is going to think that something is wrong with you. I've been told that I'm a man wrapped in a woman's body. Wow, same girl, same. I wonder if you're an INTJ. Marriage is sold as part of the traditional dream for emotional and economic stability, the happily ever after that women should work for. Pop culture books and movies are full of women desperate to marry. Yeah. You will meet strong, happily married couples in your life, but they are the exception, not the rule, in my experience. Agreed. Rosie Purple said, I think my mom may just agree with you. She's been in a long-term relationship for over a decade now, and I don't see her getting married again at all. A lot of people were sharing their success stories in the comments, and I really did appreciate that. But I definitely do think that, like you said, these people are the exception. My cousin-in-law has been married to her high school sweetheart for 3 years, and they've been together for 10. And I wish them nothing more than good to keep being that way. But we can't all expect to be like that. Someone even said that marriage is good for kids. I'm assuming they mean having them, but why is it necessary? It isn't. And that's what I have for you today, guys. So please let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Did you grow up, if you are female, did you grow up dreaming of wearing the big white dress and being the queen for a day and all of that? Did you have that from your family? Did your family influence? Were they expecting you to do that? I really would love to know your thoughts. You guys are always so, so good about sharing your own stories, and I really appreciate it. I really appreciate everyone's perfect spelling and grammar. My God, y'all, thank you so much for that. If you like this video, please like it, please hype it, please do all the YouTubey things you can do. And I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much.